Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call in now at 323-870-3857. Hit option 1 if you want to talk to us, and we're going to be here till about 9 tonight. Just depends. Close to 9 anyway. Today, we're going to talk about Kell Brook versus Errol Spence is official. They just had the press conference this week, and we'll have all the details. The numbers for the Triple G Daniel Jacobs pay-per-view are in. How did it do? We'll let you know. And Floyd Mayweather recruits a UFC star to help him start sparring for his upcoming bout with Conor McGregor. But first, we get started with Anthony $1 Million Crolla versus Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares dominated Anthony Crolla over 12 rounds in Manchester on Saturday. I got to admit, this one surprised me. I didn't expect it to be so one-sided. Crolla never seemed to really figure out the speed and timing of Linares, who looked very good in the fight. Linares used angles and speed to outbox Crolla. Crolla was dropped in the 7th by a perfect uppercut. I mean, that uppercut was just picture perfect, and it was a key to the fight. I mean, he was hitting that. It's every time he threw it, he was landing it, and he almost threw it not from the outside. It almost looked like an outside uppercut, not quite outside, but a little bit further than you'd normally throw an uppercut, and he was catching them all night with it. Crolla showed a ton of heart in this fight. He got up from the knockdown, really brought the fight to Linares, but Linares was just way too skilled for Crolla. Final scores were 118-110 by all 3 judges. This seems to set up a showdown between Mikey Garcia and Jorge Linares, and I tell you what, I cannot wait to see that one. Beeb, you saw this fight. What were your thoughts on it?
You know, I thought Jorge Linares picked up right where he left off in the first fight, because he got off to a somewhat slow start in the first fight, but I thought in the second half of the first fight is where he really started to gain ground and really turn the fight in his favor. So he just basically piggybacked off of what he did in that fight later in the later rounds. The one thing about Linares, no one's ever questioned his boxing ability, his skills. What they did question was, his durability, possibly his conditioning, and just not really sticking to the game plan throughout the whole course of the fight, because you'd see really good spots of masterful boxing in a lot of his fights. And this is one of the fights that I actually think he put it all together from start to finish. This was a masterful performance from round 1 all the way up to round 12. Now, the beautiful thing about Linares is he's just such an outstanding combination puncher. And to me, he's one of the best combination punchers in the game today. The variation and the punch selection that he really employs in the ring is outstanding. Because if you look at some of those punches, it's like that uppercut that he landed from the outside that you mentioned. It's a punch that a lot of fighters won't throw. They're not confident enough to throw it, but he throws it in a variation type form. It's not necessarily a conventional uppercut. It's almost like that 45 punch like Oscar De La Hoya used to throw, where it's a half uppercut, half hook. And a lot of times, you'll see him throw the jab, and then he'll just come up underneath, and he won't really telegraph it. It's just he keeps it so tight and compact, but all he does is just opens up that arm a little bit. He opens it up just a little bit, and he comes up underneath and extends the range on it, and opponents can't see that punch coming up from underneath because you're already touching him up top, with the jab, and then you're getting him to have to parry the jab, react to the jab. Then sometimes he'll throw a feint, and then he'll just come up underneath with that half uppercut, half hook, and it's mainly and mostly a blind shot that guys just can't pick up on. They can't gauge it. They can't see where it's coming from. They can't brace themselves for it. And, he's already heavy-handed. and then you add that surprise element to some of these punches, and it just magnifies the impact and the effect of these punches. So I thought that he really paced himself. He was a guy before that I thought fought off adrenaline. When a guy come at him and put pressure on him, he would always feel the need to have to sit there and engage him, and sometimes spend a little bit too much time in the pocket. Now he's starting to really relax. He's really starting to pick and choose his spots. He's starting to actually be the ring general in there, and he's thinking to himself, it's not how I win this fight, because early in his career he had so many knockouts. He had such a high knockout percentage, and I think he was kind of fixated on that early in his career. Now that he's settled down and said to himself, you know what, it's not how I win. It's just the fact of me winning. That's the goal. Just win. The punches are going to be there. The openings are going to be there. I can still land quality shots. If I can put 2 or 3 together and get a guy out, I get him out. If he lasts the distance, it doesn't matter. This is about me being a successful fighter. I'm getting older now. Speaking in terms of what he's thinking, he's saying to himself, he's getting older. So now it's about, really extending in the career. Now really making sure he can hold on to that title and not give that title away because of getting caught with something silly, because he decided that, I'm going to stand in there and trade with a guy so I can make the fight more exciting, or just so I can get an extra knockout here or there on my record. All that's out the window. I think he's matured as a fighter, and we basically saw all that come together yesterday. So that was a great performance from him, in my opinion.
Robert, what were your thoughts on this fight?
It was utter domination from round 2 on. He basically just took over and said, "You ain't taking my title from me. I came into England once and took your title away, and there's no way you're ever going to get a hometown decision." He thoroughly dominated this fight. Now, unlike you and Beeb, who were able to see the first fight, I was not, because Showtime did not do us the favor of not putting it on. It would have been nice for Showtime before this fight started, like on a Friday night or something, to put the first fight on so we could have seen why this was a rematch. But no, this is utter domination, and I can't wait for Linares and Garcia. And also, I got to not only praise Showtime, but I got to criticize them a little bit. Look, when you're doing these international fights, one of the big things we like about Showtime and HBO boxing coverage is we're able to hear what's going on in the corner. In between rounds, you had the guys from New York having to throw their opinions in during the fight. I don't want to hear your opinions if you're not there. You give your opinions before the fight. You give your opinions after the fight. You don't give the opinions when we're trying to hear what the trainers are saying to their fighters. I found that very discouraging. I pay attention to what a trainer says. I don't know how anybody else felt about that, but I thought that was wrong on Showtime's part. Get out of the way, let the people do the fight, and let us hear what's going on.
I'll tell you what, I hated that too, honestly. I mean, if you're gonna do the Sky Sports feed or Box Nation or whatever it was, let them talk. Come back to the studio, come back to the studio after the fight or whatever. If you guys aren't going to call the fight, and if you're going to have your whole team there, then call the fight. I don't understand. Why are we listening to Sky Sports call the fight when you guys are sitting there watching the fight? You know what I mean? And then we're hearing you guys in between round. That was just stupid. I don't want to hear you. I want to hear the guys calling the fights. Then we can hear what's it. Let's just watch the fight. That way we can hear what's going on in the corner and, et cetera. It was just it's a silly setup. And then what did they have? 4 people in the booth? Who did they have? Bernstein, Paulie. Yeah, they had 4 people in there.
Eric,
come on,
Eric. I would much rather hear the Sky Sports people do it, because even though their guy was losing and you knew that they were rooting for their guy, they were honest about, okay, this is what he needs to do. They were, you don't get hometown you don't get hometown announcing with the UK guys. I want to hear what they're saying. I applaud Showtime for putting these fights on, but tell your idiots in New York to stay the hell out of the way and let us hear what they're talking about. not only during the round, but we want to hear what's going on in the corner, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I didn't really care for the way they did it either. I don't understand. And then they come back to, like I said, in between rounds, they come back to New York, and we got to hear 4 people try to give their take in 1 minute's time. It's like, come on, man. I don't need to hear it. Just stay with what's going on here, man. You know. So, what are your thoughts, Beeb? Let me go to you. Number one, I was really surprised at that Jorge Linares dominated Anthony Crolla like he did. I did not see that coming, man. I thought for sure Crolla was going to put up a better fight, but Linares is so fast. What do you think of him versus Mikey Garcia? Because that's going to be the next fight coming down the pike here, it looks like.
You know, I used to think that Mikey Garcia was just going to come back and make a splash. And, you know, I have to say that he's probably the harder hitter of the two. But it's comparable. Linares can definitely get people's attention. But, you know, he's going to be in there with another thinking man's fighter. So you could sit there and say to yourself, maybe this is going to be somewhat of a chess match. I favor Garcia, but I think Jorge Linares is definitely ready, willing, and able, and he's primed for the upset. He's definitely primed for the upset. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a real tough fight for Garcia. But I think Garcia will be the man at 135 when it's all said and done. The smoke is clear. I just think that the combination of his boxing skills and the power, I think he's carrying that power up as he's moving through these weight classes. I think it's benefiting him putting on the weight because he looks stronger and a little bit more explosive at the higher weight classes. We saw it from 126 to 130 now up to 135. I think he's going to be a beast at 135, but I think Linares is a close second in my opinion. Obviously, Robert Easter's in the mix too. So, but you know what? Linares has got that experience, a little bit more complete of a fighter, I would say, than Robert Easter. Robert Easter is more of that athletically gifted type fighter who can definitely box in his own right. But I think in terms of skill, these two are the Mikey Garcia and Jorge Linares are the two best skilled fighters in the division, in my opinion. That's why the fight's so intriguing. It's a chess match.
I'm definitely going to disagree with you there. I think Robert Easter is the class of the division. He's from Ohio, so why not? But I tell you what, I think Robert Easter. I do think Robert Easter. I think I would like to see him and Jorge Linares. I think that's a good fight. But now, as far as anybody beating Robert Easter in the division, that remains to be seen. So, Robert, what are your thoughts on a Mikey Garcia Jorge Linares showdown?
You know what? I have to fall in line with Beeb here. I think Mikey Garcia is going to be the man. I'm going to favor him in that fight, but it'll be a tough 36 minutes. And, you know, with the way these two guys fight, you might see a trilogy out of the deal. I can't wait. Let's get the contract signed. The only problem I see here is Mikey Garcia is with Al Heyman and Richard Schaefer. And, of course, Jorge Linares is with Oscar De La Hoya. Is Oscar De La Hoya going to be willing to do business with Heyman and Schaefer, considering what Richard Schaefer tried to do to him and the Golden Boy, the company itself?
Yeah, that could be too. That'll be interesting to see if that comes up. Golden Boy, they're not doing business with anybody, I guess. We'll talk about it later with the Triple G thing, but yeah, I don't know. All right, well, let's move forward here.
Definitely will.
Yeah. And for those of you interested, the Final Four is going on now. Kentucky 64, North Carolina 67 with 2:20 left. I'm a big Kentucky fan, so I'm watching it split screen along with our show. So if you see me kind of gazing over the screen making crazy faces, that's what I'm doing. All right, let's talk about Jason Quigley versus Glenn Tapia. Jason Quigley defeated Glenn Tapia by the scores of 100-90, 99-91, and 98-92, and much to the chagrin of Robert. Tapia came on toward the end of the fight, but Quigley remains unbeaten. Robert, you said the scores did not match. Talk about that.
These three judges are blinder than I am. They have worse vision trouble than I do. Those scores did not even reflect the fight. It was a 97, 93, 96, 94 kind of fight. Now, I'm going to be honest here. Glenn Tapia is on a banana peel. He's been severely knocked out his last two fights, both in the fourth round. Both were devastating knockouts. he, in my opinion, should no longer be fighting. And Quigley is not who Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy thinks he is, because he didn't go in there and expose a fighter who he was supposed to expose. Tapia actually gave him absolute fits throughout that fight. And, I can't call it a hometown decision because Quigley is from Ireland and this fight took place in California. But I don't know what the hell the judges were seeing. Because Tapia is on his last legs. Any other fighter that supposedly had a 12-0 record, now 13-0 with 10 knockouts, would have exposed Tapia and put him away. Now what you've allowed Tapia to do is to go on and get another beating from somebody else who can probably deliver him the beating that you should have did. I had never seen Quigley before, but I am not impressed with what I've seen, and I think his undefeated record is exposable. And the first time he ever steps up with anybody that's got any skill, he's going to get an L rather quickly. I was not impressed.
Robbie, don't hold anything back, Robbie. Tell us how you really feel.
So harsh.
Don't hold it back. Let it all out, Robbie.
Wow, Robert. This guy's got a family.
Look, if the two of you have any doubts, find it on YouTube and make your own opinion.
What is Quigley? 13-0 now?
Now, yeah, he's 13-0 with 10 knockouts.
Wow.
Doesn't Golden Boy
only in the first round did he look like he had any power to do anything. After that, it was a horrible performance. I question his power, because Tapia gave him fits. I don't know what these three were looking at. I really, really don't. And I can only see out of one eye. They must have had both of their eyes closed.
But Tapia is a Golden Boy fighter too, and they were supposed to resurrect his career. What was the plan here? What was the plot? Was this supposed to be a showcase fight for Quigley, in your opinion, or did they really think that this was going to be a tough fight for him?
Yes, it was supposed to be, and even Oscar said that in the interview before the fight started. He said, "This is Jason's night to show who he really is," and he, in my opinion, didn't do that. 190, 99, 91, 98, 92. No possible way those scores made sense.
So you're saying these scorecards were filled out before the fight even started?
Absolutely.
Okay, Robbie.
Absolutely.
We got you. That's why I love Robbie, man.
And look, Joe, I can't break down fights like you do, but I know what.
No, you did a good job there. I'm not gonna take anything away from you, man. You did us proud with that breakdown. That was a good breakdown. I gotta say.
Yeah, well, I know what the hell I saw, and what the hell I saw didn't match those damn scorecards.
And a lot of people agree with you, Robbie. A lot of people say
They're
the
just
same
trying to
thing.
make a living, I mean, they're just people too. You got to give them a break, Robert. So mean to them. All right.
No way in hell.
All right, let's move on to the upcoming fights. It was a thin weekend of action here, and a thin weekend of action coming up here. All right, so let's go here. March 28th. That's Tuesday, correct, Robert?
That would be correct.
All right. From Nice, California, or Nice, California? Which one is it?
I think it's Nice.
I think it's Nice.
It's Nice, and it's a Fox Sports. It's a Fox Sports 1 toe-for-toe Tuesday.
Yeah. Ledwan Bartholomew, that's Rancis's brother, versus Reynaldo Blanco, 10 rounds, junior lightweights. And then Mark Anthony Hernandez versus Kyron Davis, 10 rounds, junior middleweights. And then let's see here. Let's go to April 1st. I believe that's Saturday, yes?
I think so. That is correct. That is correct.
Yes, that is.
On ESPN2, Antonio Orozco versus Keandre Gibson, 10 rounds, junior welterweights. And let's see here. And wow, is that for real? Yeah, I think that's for real. All right, so from Managua, Nicaragua.
That's it?
No, from
Okay.
Managua, Nicaragua on the 1st. You may have to stream this. Ricardo Mayorga versus TBA, 10 rounds.
10 rounds. Wow.
Yeah, 10 rounds. He doesn't pull the Andy Lee thing. He's there. He's going 10 rounds. So there you go.
How many beers and cigarettes?
You may need a couple Red Bulls for that one.
And then let's see here. I think that's the only one, and that's it. The big one this weekend, though. But the big one this weekend, though, is going to be Maris Briedis versus Marco Hook, 12 rounds for the vacant WBC interim cruiserweight title. Now, Tony Bellew holds this title. But I don't know why they're making an interim unless he's actually vacated it. I haven't heard anything about him vacating it. I don't understand this. I don't understand the interims, the regular champions, and why they do. It's all a money thing. That's why I hate the sanctioning bodies. They suck. But Maris Briedis undefeated. I think he's 20-17. Marco Hook, everybody knows about him. I like Briedis in this one. I think he pulls it off. I think he pulls off the upset. I'm not sure if it's an upset or not, but I think he takes it. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I'm gonna roll with the veteran Marco Hook. I'm not gonna jump ship off. I'm not gonna jump ship from him yet. I still think he's a quality cruiserweight, and I still think he's one of the top fighters in the division. Be an interesting fight for him, Tony Bellew. I'd like to see that one, but we'll see what happens in this one. It'll be interesting. If he can get past his opponent, then on to Tony Bellew. Why not? If Tony Bellew decides that he's going to come back down to cruiser, because he can have some pretty big fights at heavyweight after that performance with David Haye. So I think maybe they're waiting to see what Tony Bellew's next move is, and this is possibly their plan B to have a champion in place if he does decide to vacate. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think so too. I like I said, man, I like Briedis in this, but yeah, and is it like I said? So what if he doesn't vacate? Then you still have an interim champ.
Yeah,
I hate it. It doesn't make sense.
What happens is, Eric, the winner of this fight becomes the number 1 mandatory challenger, and they still have a fight anyway.
No, I understand that, but why not just have a mandatory challenger fight?
Like I said,
why do we have to give him a belt? Because he will get a belt after this, no matter what. That's my point.
I have no idea, Eric.
73-70 with 13 seconds left. Kentucky has the ball. If anybody's interested. Kentucky just tied it up. They just tied it up, baby.
Well, then we're going to overtime.
I don't know. Carolina just shoots. Carolina just wins. 0.3 seconds left. They just sunk it 75-73.
Oh, great.
Oh, man. That was that was a good shot, too. 0.3 seconds left. I don't think they can get a shot off. All right. But that's all the fights for this weekend. You believe that?
And Hook's going to win. I agree with Beeb.
You think so?
Marco Hook.
All right. All right. I'm the lone guy again. I'm taking Briedis. What about the Mayorga fight? Why is he still fighting, and should he be?
No. No and no.
Yeah, especially with his style where, he can't really seem to get out of the way of punches. Never been a defensive specialist. You have to worry about him fighting at how old is he now? What's he, like 46 or something like that?
He's got to be.
He's got to be up there, right?
Yeah, you'll have to box record. I can't remember.
I'm going to box rec to see how old this guy is because he's up there.
I find it surprising. Does anybody find it surprising with the strict sanctioning in Nicaragua that he's able to get a license and fight?
No.
It's not very strict, Eric.
No.
I mean, if you can box, if you can't, get a license, in Nicaragua, seriously, I think that's one of those
for God's sakes, he couldn't even beat Shane Mosley. And we seen what David Avasant did to Shane Mosley.
Well, Avasant is a good fighter. Avasant is a good fighter.
No, he shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ricardo Mayorga shouldn't be fighting. sit on his couch, drink his beer, smoke his cigarettes.
He's actually 44 years old. I'm
44.
mistaken. So I got him by about 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so not much.
No way in hell he should be fighting.
And not much going on this week. But Lomachenko on April 8th, you got Lomachenko versus Sosa, Alexander Usyk versus Michael Hunter. So, and then you got Terry Flanagan versus Peter Petrov. That should be a good fight. Liam Smith versus Liam Williams also on the undercard there. That's all coming the following week, and we'll break all that stuff down. But yeah,
what a thin schedule, huh?
Yeah, what is that about, man? Just a very thin schedule on the ESPN docket.
When's the next big fight? It's going to be the Joshua Klitschko fight, right? In April.
The next big fight will be Klitschko and Joshua, but the Lomachenko fight should be very interesting.
Yeah, that's a good fight, Lomachenko versus Jason Sosa. I like that fight too. That's another good one.
Yep.
Yeah. So not much there. Still 0.3 seconds left. 73-75. If anybody's interested. Go ahead. Make sure to go follow the Haymanites on Twitter at EgoBiggest. And let's get on to our news and rumors now. Kell Brook and Errol Spence is now official. Kell Brook will defend his IBF World Welterweight title against U.S. star Errol Spence at Bramall Lane in Sheffield, Saturday, May 27th on Sky Sports. On Showtime, and it will be broadcast on Showtime, so that'll be great. The two faced off at the press conference this week, and Errol Spence is definitely the bigger guy. The two took to jawing at each other. Man, I can't wait for this fight. Is it me, or does Kell Brook really hang his hat on that Triple G loss? It seems like Kell Brook and his entire crew hang their hats on that Triple G loss. Why keep bringing that up? It was a loss, and it wasn't like the fight was close. The fight was not close. I mean, you got knocked out.
I got one question for you, Eric.
Yes.
What's a chocolate brownie?
Oh my goodness.
That was classic.
Did you see Errol Spence's face when he talked about the chocolate brownie?
Oh yeah, it was hilarious.
He was like, "What's a chocolate?" He's like, "I didn't know what a chocolate brownie was." He was like, when he said that, he was like, "Man, you're a fool." He was like,
"Wow, he really sunned him. He really sunned him."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you won 2 rounds against Golovkin." He says, he goes, "Did Willie Monroe do the same thing?" Oh my God, he really, he dissed the shit out of him, man. I think he's winning the war of words so far, Errol Spence. And let me ask you this: Did Kell Brook looked a little shook at that press conference? He looked uncomfortable.
Yeah, he did. He looked good.
And Errol Spence looked bigger than him.
He looked bigger
than him. He
looked a lot bigger. Looked a lot. Because Kell Brook is a big guy. I mean, when you look at him, he's muscled up and everything like that. But I tell you what, he looked like the much bigger guy there.
Errol Spence is a little younger. He's early in his career, so he's making a big cut, just like Kell Brook is. But I think Kell Brook's done it many more times, and I think he's starting to feel the wear and tear of making that huge cut. And he's talked a lot about it in that press conference about how he has problems making weight, how he likes to wake up in the middle of the night, go downstairs to the fridge and snack and all this and that. Where Errol Spence is still a young kid, so once that fight's signed, he can flip that switch, get dialed in, and he can make that cut, or seems to be able to make that cut a lot easier than Kell Brook can. So I really question the quality of fighter. Again, I hate casting the clouds. You talk about that broken orbital bone, and you talk about having to come down 2 weight classes and fight at 147. Think about it. Roy Jones went up to heavyweight. Then he went back down to 175. That's when he suffered his second loss, first real loss against Antonio Tarver. He wasn't the same after. Same thing with Antonio Tarver, how he put on a lot of weight to be in that Balboa movie, and then he came down and got back down to light heavyweight and had to fight Hopkins. You saw that. Oscar De La Hoya fighting at junior middleweight for years, then going back down to 147 to fight Pacquiao. You saw what happened there. So is this such a smart move for Kell Brook, going back down to 147? I don't think so. I think it's going to be problematic for him.
Nope. It's going to be a huge problem for him. And it looks like Joel Lopez in the chat says that the fight was competitive before the stoppage. I'm assuming he's talking about the Errol Spence fight or the Kell Brook Triple G fight, I'm not 100% sure that it was. I'm not 100% sure that it was. Yeah, I mean, he was getting smashed in that fight. He got his eye socket broken in the first or second round.
Yeah, second round, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, he hit him with
Second round.
he hit him with some clean shots, but so what? So did Willie Monroe. I mean, I don't think it was that competitive, and just because the judges had it close, like I said, man, that fight was out of hand. I mean, and if it wasn't out of hand, they wouldn't have stopped it.
Yeah, but the thing is this, Eric. It was competitive for a short period of time, and then it went off the rails dramatically. It went off the rails dramatically for Kell Brook, because once Triple G started connecting, he was hurting Kell Brook with every shot, basically knocking him across the ring with some of these shots.
Right.
And he just looked out of it.
You want to talk about it? You want to talk about a competitive fight? Look at what Danny Jacobs was able to do. Now that was a competitive fight.
Exactly, Robbie. Exactly.
Kell Brook,
right. And
Kell
some people
Brook was not competitive.
Yeah, and I mean, I was talking to Beeb before we got on the air, and I said, I think that the deal was the last time I heard somebody talking about basing things off of a loss was Razor Ruddock. And you remember Razor Ruddock when he fought Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson didn't knock him out in the second fight. He went full 12 with him. And when Razor Ruddock went to fight Lennox Lewis, that's all we heard about, is that he's the uncrowned champion because he went 12 rounds with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson couldn't hurt him, blah, blah, blah. And I know they were knocked out. He was knocked out in the first fight, but that's all we heard about. And Lennox Lewis went in there and waxed him in like 2 rounds. And that's kind of what this reminds me of, is that he's hanging that he went up and fought this big guy and, maybe fared pretty well for a couple of rounds, but that was it. And, like I said, man, I just don't, I don't know. And I think that weight is going to be a bigger thing than they think it's going to be. It's going to be very difficult for him to get down to 147. He's a big 147 anyway. It's going to be hard. He should have went up to 154 while he had the chance.
Absolutely, because Earl Spence is going to expose him, and he's going to go after that orbital bone all over again. Kell Brook's going to look like he belongs in the witness protection program after this is over.
Wow.
And I want to make another comparison too, because when you have those types of injuries, that area of your face will never be the same. Because look at Antonio Margarito after the first Cotto fight, because a lot of people said, "Oh, Cotto was never the same after that Margarito fight," but neither was Margarito, because that's when you started seeing that eye always swell up, always have the busted up and swell up like a big hematoma right around that eye area. And this could be one of those injuries for Kell Brook, because once you break that eye socket, and when it heals back, it never heals back the same way it was originally designed. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll heal back. There'll be little gaps and little space in between there. And when you get hit in that area again, there's scar tissue already there after being broken, and it heals back up. And it's going to swell up that much quicker with less impact. And, it's just never going to be the same. It's always the case with fighters when they suffer cuts around their eye areas. You see Marquez, when he started getting cut around his eyes, in every fight, didn't matter who he fought, whether the guy was a big puncher or not, his eye would always bust open in that same spot. So I think you're going to see some residual effect. I really do, from this Golovkin fight. And I think Errol Spence is a huge puncher. And if he makes contact with that damaged eye, or that eye that was already broken, the orbital bone, you're going to see that eye really sustain some serious damage. And you're going to see it swell up real early in the fight, in my opinion. I just think it's going to happen.
I'll go one step further, guys. Eddie basically sacrificed Kell Brook to make sure that he got involved in a big payday with Triple G.
That's your boy.
He couldn't get Chris Eubank Jr. to agree, so he basically sacrificed Kell Brook, and now Kell Brook's career may never be the same after this.
Don't blame Eddie.
That's your boy.
Don't blame Eddie. Kell Brook walked in that office and he demanded that fight. He went in that fight, and he took his fist and smashed it on Eddie Hearn's desk, and he said, "Eddie, give me this fight now." Don't blame. Eddie didn't want to make this fight.
Your boy, son. Your boy ruined his career.
He got Eddie in a headlock. He forced him to make this fight.
He ruined it.
He strong-armed him. He strong-armed him. Don't blame Eddie for this.
2 days to sign that fight, or Sky Sports was going to move on to something else.
Sacrificial lamb, son.
His whole team wants him to fight at 154. This was his decision to fight at 147. He said to them, I don't want to give up my belt. I think it's a huge mistake.
Big mistake.
I do too.
Blame his team for this too. Blame his team. Blame his promoter. Blame everybody because he's going to get killed.
The truth is going to walk out of England a champion.
That's it. All right, let's go to 347. 347. You are live.
Yeah, what's up, guys? This is Nick.
Hey Nick, how are you?
I'm good. You guys talking about Kell Brook and Spence?
Yes.
Yep. So who do you like? Who do you like in this one, Nick?
I like Brook, but Kell Brook is a big dude. Spence is a big dude. Spence is just like, I see like Danny Jacobs. These guys could make a weight above them, but it's squeezing itself to get its advantage to go in a lower weight class for fight, smaller guys. But Kell Brook and Spence are both bigger. Like in the face off, Spence look a bit like an inch taller. I think if it's a close decision, it's gonna go to Brook. He has to either score a knockout or just dominate him by like 9-3 or something to get a win. If it's a close fight, he's gonna go to Kell Brook is gonna get it if it's a close fight. And I don't know if nobody hasn't seen what Spence can take. Like when he get hurt, what can he take? Everybody's saying he's good because Mayweather said he's good, and then everybody jump on the back right of him and saying Spence is good. Mayweather said everybody ducking Spence, but nobody know what Spence could do. So the eye injury, I think, is gonna have an effect if Spence hits him or you land punches there. But I don't know. It's a good fight because Sean Porter was a small dude. Brook was hugging him up. Spence is a big guy. He's not going to get to hug him up as much as he can hug Sean Porter up. But Brook can fight. He can fight. Brook is accurate in his punch too. Straight down the middle. He shoot that punch straight in the middle. He's accurate. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. Everybody thinks Triple G was going to walk through Danny Jacobs. Look what happened to that fight. So I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. If it's a close fight, it goes to Brook. Then I don't think England is going to give him that. If it's a close fight, it goes to Brook. Even if it's 7-5, it goes to Brook. He's not going to win it like that. He has to score a knockout or like 9-3 or something. Even 8-4, they might give it to Brook. Look at this guy, this middleweight, Billy the Joker. The last fight he fought, the guy was beating his ass up, and look, they gave it to whatever his name is, Billy Joe Sanders. I don't think Brook is he's gonna lose the fight, but I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight.
I think you may have something there. I really do.
But what do you say? What?
I said I think you may have something there because, and it may be a 50-50 fight in the UK. Because like you said, the judges and everything like that, I mean, you're fighting right in Kell Brook's hometown. I mean, that's his hometown right there.
Exactly.
Right in that soccer stadium of his and everything like that, man. That's a tall order for Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence wins the fight, but does he get the decision, man? That's a tough one.
I don't think he has to get the decision. I think he's going to get the knockout. Beating the odds with Beeb is taking Spence with the KO proposition. We are going to maximize our winnings. We're taking Spence, the killer, the truth. The truth, baby. Errol Spence. And I love UK, man. I got a Union Jack bedspread right now on my bed, but I'm picking Errol Spence because I can see. I have the Beeb vision. The Beeb vision is telling me how special Errol Spence is right now. The Beeb vision.
So, question: If Spence win this fight, right, then all the guys gonna duck him for real now because Sean Porter don't want none of that. I don't think Keith Thurman wants any of that because Keith Thurman only saying kill for life, but he doesn't have the power like how he, when he fighted the upper echelon of guys, he doesn't have that power. And I don't think none of those guys want nothing to do with Spence. None of them.
Because they know. They know what this guy brings to the table.
This is what these guys are doing.
This guy's dangerous. I'm telling you, this
He
guy's
can't beat
dangerous.
anybody at 154. He's talking about fighting Canelo, but I don't think he can beat Canelo.
And before you know it, he'll be up to 154 before you know it. I bet you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. I bet you at the end of next year, they're going to be talking about Spence moving up to 154. You wait and see. That's how big and powerful this kid is. I think he's going to be.
Guys, you guys talk about Brook fighting 154. Who Brook can beat at 154? He can't beat Charlo. I don't think he can beat Canelo. The two men, and I don't think he can beat Boo Boy at 154. The top three guys at 154, I don't think he can beat them. Who he can beat at 154 either. This is what a lot of fighters does. This is what I am observing in a lot of fighters. They have an advantage, but they can't make it at a certain weight class. So what it does is squeeze themselves to make a low weight so they get the advantage on the guys who might have a height or weight advantage and these things. This is what these guys does. I don't think he can beat anybody either at 154. He's just talking. We're fighting Canelo, but I don't think he can beat Canelo 154. You guys are already saying Canelo beat Chavez. If Canelo beat Chavez, I think the fight is even. I don't see it's an easy walk for Canelo. Chavez been looking good in training.
He looks
No,
big.
I have never said I've never said that Chavez fight's going to be easy for Canelo, but the problem is you can't put any faith in Chavez because his past history shows he doesn't take his boxing career very seriously when it comes to training. So we don't know when Cesar Chavez Jr. is going to show up.
Robbie.
True, I agree, because he's been doing a lot of crap, yeah.
Chavez Jr. is absolutely shredded. He's shredded right now. He's shredded.
Training, he's been trash talking Canelo while he's running, like how Mayweather used to do back in the days. Why is he running, just trash talking? He's been looking good. I think it's a good fight. It's a good fight, man. I hope Golovkin is a man with a mission. I hope he get that fight to Billy Joe Sanders because I would like to see him unify that division. And everybody been saying Golovkin is a big guy, but Golovkin is not a big guy. Golovkin is like the same height with me. And he's not a big guy. These people will say, I don't think I've been saying this guy can't beat guys at 168. I don't know how he's going to be at 168 because those guys at 168 are going to come in at 190 and fight night. I don't think he's going to manage that. He might as well stay right at 160 instead of going up to 168. Forget about what people telling him. That fight show. Look how big down Jacob was and what Jacob was doing there. It shows. I don't think he can move up to 168. Donald Jacobs could fight at 168. He could fight at 175. This dude is a big guy. This guy is squeezing himself. They're draining themselves. And then 2 days, the night before the fight, then you see how they hydrate back up. They hydrate back up to 20, 30 pounds. I think Donald Jacobs probably is 190, 195 and fight night. So the best thing I give Triple G is 18 months more if he can last for 18 months. If he can last for 18 months, it would be good because I don't think he can last for 18 months. Not the way how he fights. The way how he fights, he just take a lot of hits. And fighters with like that is excited, but when they take a lot of hits, they don't last long in boxing. Boxing is, to last long, you got to be very offensive, like how Mayweather, Bernard, and these guys does it.
Definitely.
You guys agree with that?
I agree. I don't know how much longer Triple G has. I mean, he's got a couple more fights left in him for sure, and I think he's got a big fight with Canelo left in him. If
I give him 18 months. This is why they're trying to rush him to get 3-4 fights. a year.
No, I think
the guy is going to be 35. He's 35 this month.
No, I don't think they're trying to rush him for that. I think a guy like him needs to stay busy. A guy like Triple G needs to stay busy. He doesn't like being on the shelf for, he doesn't like fighting twice a year. He's got to stay busy, especially he's getting older. You want to stay in, you want to stay in training. You want to stay sharp and focused and everything like that. And that's kind of how he does it. That's my thoughts on it anyway. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he doesn't have that
I have
many
a question
fights
for
left.
Beeb.
Yes.
Shoot.
Beeb.
Shoot. Yes.
Charlo and Triple G, who you have winning?
Honestly, we never have seen Charlo fight at 160 yet. I know a lot of people are saying he could beat Golovkin. I don't think right now, if you ask me to pick, I would say Golovkin beats Charlo right now.
Yeah, I think you have to.
I would say that.
Oh yeah.
That's no disrespect to Charlo. That's no disrespect to Charlo.
Fight Charlo.
Say again.
I like to see Jacobs fight Charlo.
I think Jacobs would beat Charlo too.
I do too. Yeah, I think Jacobs beats
You
Charlo
think he's
too.
going to beat Charlo?
Yeah.
No,
Really?
Yeah.
Last
I do.
Saturday proved that he is the second best middleweight in the world. Danny Jacobs will beat any other middleweight, and him and Triple G will always fight close fights. I think, I don't know if there'll be a rematch, but if there is, I think it'll be a closer fight than this one was. Danny Jacobs showed me an awful lot on March 18th.
Well, it could just be styles
I
too.
pick Charlo to beat Jacobs though. You see, Jacobs is moving with his height and reach and everything. Charlo is same height or almost the same height as Jacobs and everything. He's not going to have that advantage. Charlo is a strong guy. He haven't proven himself yet, but you will see.
Different style, though.
This guy, what is his name?
Style.
Or whatever his name. He's on the road to trainer now. He's a good trainer.
Yeah, but Charlo is not a mover. He's not a guy that's going to be content to just box from the outside. He wants to get in there and grind with guys. And if he gets in there and grind...
Exactly. That's Beeb. He's not going to be content. Right. But I think if he wasn't there, he was going to go for the kill, like how Jacobs was fighting and he was getting pushed back all the time. He was going to go for the kill. He was not going to stay around there and do what Jacobs is doing.
So let me ask you this real quick.
It's more different. He doesn't have that patience.
Let me ask you this real quick. So would you say, without seeing Charlo fight at 160 yet, would you say that he's a harder puncher than Jacobs at this point right now? Would you say that? And again, if you believe it, you believe it. You could be right, or you could be wrong. I don't know that. But right now, based upon off of what
I think he's physically strong because of his height and everything. I think these guys, my opinion in boxing is that these guys squeeze themselves all the way just to make this weight. And then when it's too much for them and they can't deal with it, then they jump up another weight class. This is what happened. They're squeezing themselves to make these low weights, and they get the advantage over the smaller guys. But the minute they meet in a weight that is more deserving for the height and the power, then you see the difference. So, strong guy. I think Jacobs have a tough fight if they was to put him to fight.
So you think Charlo will be an even better fighter when he goes up to 160?
Even though he hasn't fought yet at 160, I think he gives Jacobs. I would probably favor Jacobs at 55 to 45, probably. But I think it's an even matchup.
Okay.
That's why I picked Jacobs to beat Triple G when I called into the show. I picked him because I see Jacobs as a much bigger guy. When people are saying that Triple G is the best middleweight, I was saying no, he's not the best middleweight because he hasn't proven himself yet. People are saying this guy, Lomachenko, he's one of the best pound for pound. I called in the show and I said, no, you guys need to pump the brakes on this guy. This guy, how are you going to be the best yet? One of the best. He only fought a few fights and you calling him one of the best? You got to pump your brakes yet on this guy. When you meet top-level competition like yourself, then you know Triple G did show that he can really hang with a tough, big, strong guy, and he did show that. But, it wasn't I think Triple G beat him. It was a clear victory for me than how they had Ward beating Kovalev. That was a clear victory to me. But, whoever people crying foul and whatever the case, I would prefer to see Charlo fight Jacobs. The winner gets Triple G. Let Triple G go and try to get unification belt with Billy the Joker. I thought he's a joker. He only talking too much. He's like American. Talk, and now American is claiming that he's broke. They talk too much. They talk more than what they're really doing. They're just jokers. I would like to see him unify the belts. And if Chavez beat Canelo, definitely he's gonna have a showdown with Chavez and Triple G. There's not gonna be no talking about no purse splits and no who getting percentage on pay-per-view and all these nonsense. You're gonna have a good fight with Chavez and Triple G.
Okay.
Good, man. All right. Well, we thank you for calling in, man. A lot of good points. Thank you, sir.
Oh, one quick question for you. You guys had Chocolito winning or losing?
I had him winning.
Adam winning.
You had him winning?
Robbie had it in a draw, he said.
Draw.
Robbie had it in a draw.
But guess what? The guy who beat Chocolito is Pacquiao Cuz, okay?
This what?
He's Pacquiao cousin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the guy is Pacquiao cousin who beat Chocolito.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Correct.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, it is, man. All right, man.
Yep.
We're going to get running, man.
Later,
Thanks for
guys.
calling.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I didn't know that was Pacquiao's cousin.
Wow.
I don't know.
By the way, you know what? I like that idea. Jacobs and Charlo. I think Jacobs wins, but what a way to prove! For Charlo to prove he belongs at middleweight. Have him fight Danny Jacobs. I like that idea. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, Charlo. I mean, to say he's stronger than Triple G, though. I mean, or he,
No, he's.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough.
I don't know about that.
Like I said, I mean he's coming up from 154. That's a pretty tough pill to swallow right there. So I don't know. All right, 508. You are live.
Georgie.
How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, man?
Good.
Well, I can see that the screw is up.
To be my new fool.
Don't worry about it, guys. That's gonna wear out sooner or later. I'm gonna keep on challenging for that pie for the Ringside Reporter Pie Championship. I'm
That's
gonna
right.
Keep challenging.
That's right.
Georgie.
Belt made. We're gonna
Georgie.
get a belt made.
Georgie, I'm gonna bet not just the pie, but I'm gonna bet a bakery. I'm gonna bet an entire bakery that Kell Brook is gonna get knocked out by Errol Spence. I'll have an avalanche of pies fall on me. If Kell Brook.
In Georgie's defense, before we go any further, in Georgie's defense,
yeah,
when Georgie takes a pie in the face, Georgie took a pie in the face. I'm just saying.
yeah.
When I saw Beeb take a pie in the face, that was kind of like, I don't know.
She's a strong kid, that Brianna. She really drills me. She drills me with that pie.
I'm just saying.
Georgie, I was out for a couple of days. I had to call in sick from work the next day. I was so devastated.
Calling to work, he was bruised.
She smashed me, man. I had contusions.
Remain humble.
That's
Even
right.
on defeat or and win. But for my defense, I don't remember anybody challenging anybody on boxing before I did that bet with Lemieux. There was a bunch of people just calling all these shows and these podcasts, just talking opinions. It's great because we will learn from it. But there was nobody putting nothing on the line before Georgie. So let's get that straight right there.
No, you're right.
But,
you know what?
You created the pie bet, Georgie.
I've heard you call other shows. And put yourself out there. You're a man of your word. And props to you.
Absolutely.
Georgie
At
invented
the end of the day, I always believe that knowledge on boxing got to go hand in hand with wins. Like with the last time I lost, I was Fire King. I took that from James. James was undefeated, 2-0. Came back one night, hit him twice. and I just got robbed, but I came back. But you know what? Who you got, Beeb? Let's stop going around the bush, because I'm coming out with a vengeance. Who you got on the Spencer and Brook?
I'm taking Spence by knockout. I'm taking Errol Spence.
That's a fight bait right there. That right there, that will take that horrific soundbite, and I'm gonna give myself an intro. Okay, guys.
And if Spence just wins a 12-round decision,
and if I lose, I take 2 fights instead of 1. That's how
I'll lose.
I'll
lose.
Okay, here's the bet.
This is what you go wrong. This is what I got it. This is what you guys got to take out the pen and the book and start writing shit and some notes down. Because it's full session.
Right now, Georgie, on this show, you're 1-1. You won 1, you lost 1.
So let me get this straight.
Listen, I know Beeb's Enterprise cannot take another defeat. Almost about to go bankrupt, but baby, I'm gonna let you think about this. I'm gonna let you think about this. You think the Errol Spence gonna go to Sheffield and come out with a title from there, my dude?
He's gonna be a thief in the night, man.
Listen,
He's gonna be a thief in the night, baby.
Listen, brother. Brook got it all the way to the 12th. No matter what, they're going to scream robbery, they're going to scream this, they're going to scream that, whatever, brother. It ain't no way King Kong, Godzilla, I don't care who you send down there, is coming out of Sheffield with that dude's bill. How long was Brook the #1 dude? He was the #1 dude for like 10 years, dodging and waving and doing all kind of shit. How many first time he pulled out of a fight? How many times? I was amazed they got done.
I know.
No, Mr. Eddie Earth is ready to come out with a vengeance. These men not going to allow these men to take a L. This is not happening. So you can romanticize. You can see all the visions that you want to see on the inside and the outside game, and who's the best specimen who can represent better that weight division on the sport that all we love. But at the end of the day, it means nothing compared to what these people cook, brother. So that's my pick. Make it official.
All right. So here's the bet. Here's the bet. The bet is Beeb said Errol Spence will win by knockout. By knockout. That means he's picking Errol Spence by knockout. But
outrageous.
If he doesn't knock him out, Georgie wins the bet. That's the way it goes.
He does. I'm doing a prop.
If Spence wins or
that
not.
No, Jerry. Who you think is gonna go there with the egg whites and the coconut oil, dude? Get in there with the egg whites and coconut, dude, brother.
Man down, baby. Man down. Man down, baby. Man down.
All right. Just so we have this clear. So Georgie can win if Errol Spence wins by decision, or Kell Brook wins by decision or knockout. Georgie wins the bet.
Wins the bet. This is a prop. This is a prop pie bet. It's a prop pie bet.
Wow,
He's
putting everything on the line. He's putting everything on the line. Okay, brother.
If Beeb loses, he takes a pie in the face.
He's like a vision and custom. Yeah.
If Georgie wins, he gets his own intro. And it's not going to be.
There you go.
Yeah.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
This intro will go away, and we will assign it to another user. I would assign it to Corey, but he's not calling in anymore because he lost his bet and never paid up. So
we got to earn some stripes around here, baby. We can be, you know what I'm saying, who's right and who's wrong.
That's right.
That's it. So what happens if Georgie loses? He takes a pie?
Yeah, he just has to take a pie. That's
all right. Yeah, he'll take a pie.
Baby.
All right, there it is. There it is. That's the bet. That's the bet.
And you know what? Georgie always lives up to his bets.
Absolutely.
Let me give a shout out to Robbie, brother, because you're the only one here complaining and righteously about another robbery, about how these people come up with these scorecards from who knows where. So, I mean, people's life is on the line and we're just going to take it laying back. We got to say something. So, you know, big shout out for you, Robbie, for standing up for. Because at the end of the day, we want a fair fight, baby. I don't care what he sells. I want to know who's the best in the world. Don't deny me that, doggy. I'm going to pay you Showtime. I'm going to pay the $250 goddamn cable bill every month, brother.
That's right.
I will do that for you. I will do it. I'm gonna buy the pay-per-view if it's good too. Like, give me first fight. Don't give me all these bullshit, all these stats. How many do they rub? They rub Battle Jack. They rub Coma. They rub Chocolatis and Jacob the same night, B. I mean, come on, bro. Right. How much can you talk out of me, brother?
Right.
That's all I'm asking. I don't understand, brother. Just don't get it. My great show, don't want to get negative because always the vibe here is great. You guys are great hosts and doing this for free, like I always say. God bless you guys.
That's it.
This is not a pay-per-view show.
That's it, except for Beeb's picks. Beeb's picks. So you can find Beeb's breakdown of Errol Spence and Kell Brook. You can find that on what is that channel called?
Beating the odds with Beeb.
No. Beeb, what is
Beating
that?
The odds with...
What is that pay channel called? What is it?
Patreon?
Patreon. Yeah, you can find it on Patreon for $75.
Yeah. Beating the odds with Beeb's picks. Charge $75.
It's $75. You know, like.
Oh my God! What do they think of next?
Remember the old Saturday football when he comes on like 5 dimes or whatever? Call 900 for you, $5. We got our 5-star lock of the year.
1-800-323 Beeb.
323 Beeb. That's right.
Oh my God!
All right, Georgie, it's official.
All right, Georgie.
It's official, baby.
Good call.
All right, man. Good deal. So he
and
made
you know
his
what?
own intro music.
He's got guts, Eric. He even said he would take 2 pies in the face if he lost.
He's only got to take one.
Yeah, I'm not greedy.
That's right. 970, you are live.
What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing today?
What's happening?
What's
happening?
What's up, man? What's up, partner? Hey, man, I missed that Monday show, man. I'm sorry. I was calling to defer to the new boxing gods or Nostradamus. I had no idea Jacobs had so much game, man. How the fuck did you guys know that, man?
Well,
I hate to brag. I'm just saying, you know, I did pick Tony Bellew over David Hay.
Well, I will say this:
winning the fight. I'm just saying.
Eric got the Beeb vision surgery the other day, and now he has the Beeb vision, so now he can see things that the Beeb sees, baby. Yeah.
Beeb, you've redeemed yourself from that con pick with me, man. You're good on my book.
That's right.
You're balanced out, brother. That was good.
I almost had that one. Khan was winning that fight 5-1 before the start.
Khan was not winning that fight, son.
Oh, he's pitching a virtual shutout, except for that one round.
A virtual shutout.
Hey, man, I just gave you your points back, bro.
I know. I'm sorry. I can't get that out of my head. That was traumatic.
Hey, man, that was a hell of a fight, guys. That was a hell of a fight. I really enjoyed it. I can't, man, I'm ready for your boy there, Robbie. What do you think, man? That Canelo fight looking a lot more interesting to you now, isn't it?
Well, no, look, I'm still interested in it no matter what happens. And it looks like, and we'll talk about it later, but it looks like Oscar's not interested in it at all. And, man, I don't know.
Oh, hey, while we're talking about interviews that happened after that fight, what's up with I heard Abel Sanchez, man. He's been that Golovkin team sounded a little shaky, man. All of a sudden now they're talking about beating Billy Joe and moving up. They sound like they are not interested in a rematch whatsoever. Let me ask you, Robbie, would you be okay with Triple G beating Billy Joe Saunders and then moving up to 168 without giving Jacobs a rematch? Would you be okay with that?
No, absolutely not. You beat Billy.
Wow, Robbie.
And if the Canelo fight does not, and if the Canelo fight does not happen, you give Danny Jacobs a rematch. He deserves it.
I would go along with that. Yeah, I would go along with that.
Fair enough.
I would go along with it. If he doesn't, if the Canelo fight falls apart, which I'm suspecting it might. Yeah, I think at that point you give Jacobs a rematch. Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, clearly you don't stand in the way of a money fight. You don't stand in the way of a money fight like Canelo. But if you can't get that fight, I mean, I think you can fight Saunders next. If you can't get the Canelo fight, then yeah, I'd say you give Jacobs a rematch.
Can I say one thing though? This is the amazing thing with what Abel Sanchez said.
Okay.
He then goes on to say, well,
when Golovkin moves up, Danny Jacobs will run the middleweight division. But if you think about it,
Yeah, I heard that.
It makes more sense for Danny Jacobs to move up, given his size, before Golovkin moves up. And even if Golovkin moves up, it won't be that long before Jacobs follows him. So it's like people forget, even before this fight, they were talking about Jacobs moving up to 168. Before the Golovkin fight. They said this could be his last fight at middleweight. That's what his trainer said.
You know what the possibility is, guys? They could have the rematch at
168.
So let's say Golovkin beats Billy Joe Saunders, and somehow Oscar finds a way to get out of allowing Canelo to fight in September. Well, Golovkin and Jacobs could both move up to 168 and fight there. Why not?
And we know Jacobs will probably be a lot stronger at 168 too, right? But will Golovkin be stronger at 168? That's a big question. So if the rematch takes place at 168, I think it's an advantage to Jacobs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hand Wraps. I don't want to hijack your call.
What's that?
I personally. Oh, go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Oh.
I was asking you, what do you think about that if they have a rematch at 168?
I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think Golovkin can move up in weight. I really don't. I think that I don't think he'll have the same power. I think, especially after seeing him and Jacobs, I don't think he has the same power. I think 160 is his weight. And all the people saying that he can move up and everything like that, it's not a good idea. I think it's going to be the same situation when Chocolatito moved up.
That's a strong point, Eric. That's a strong point, Eric, because Golovkin doesn't have that one KO punching power. He really relies on his work, and when you put heavier bags in front of him, then they're going to be able to absorb those punches a lot better. And then one unlucky uppercut or one counter he doesn't see, we already know he doesn't like to exchange and throw punches in between punches, right? He likes to do his work. So if somebody's slick enough to throw in between one of those wide hooks he likes to throw, then he might get swept, man. I personally would love to see the fight at 160. I think if they allow him to move to 168, I think the weight advantage towards Jacobs, it would be too much, man. And then if he beats him, then everybody's going to say the weight was too much. I would prefer to watch it at 160.
I do too.
That's my personal opinion. I'm really upset that Chocolatito got robbed, man. That's the heartbreak of the fucking year. But
yeah,
it's been a great last 12 months in a row of boxing, man. And some of the top guys, they're just not going to get that benefit of the doubt. It was a close fight to call, and that guy is definitely not Pacquiao's fucking cousin or whatever that other. This guy's fucking Thai, bro. He's not Philippine.
You know what? I was just going to say that. I just looked that up. I just looked that up.
That shit was hilarious, man. But anyways,
I just looked that up, and there's no link to. Yeah, there's no link to those two. Yeah, there's no link to those two. So
no.
It could be distant cousins.
Man, I'm not gonna shit on.
Hey, look, he's gonna be fighting. He's gonna be fighting Carlos Cuadras next. That'll be a hell of a fight, anyway.
Oh wow, that'd be a great fight.
I think he's gonna be a good little champ for a while, man. Cuadras ain't gonna. I don't think Cuadras can do anything with him.
I heard he was winning that fight. I heard that Cuadras was losing that fight at the time of the stoppage because they had fought before. You talking about Rungvisai, right? Yeah, they had fought before. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
That guy's no joke, man. That guy's a good fighter.
Hammers, bro. That's why I was one of the few saying that this Theracat dude was gonna be a good fight for Roman because I seen that Cuadras fight and I thought that Cuadras got lucky by getting the fucking fight stop, man, because this guy was throwing some haymakers in that fight, bro.
Yeah,
he was landing them too.
And you know what? Everybody out there who's on Inoue's bandwagon, anybody who's out there that's on Inoue's bandwagon, and I'm not one of those guys. I want to see him fight Cuadras or I want to see him fight Rungvisai. You fight one of those two, you beat them soundly, then man. I'm down with you. But other than that, I mean, you got to fight more. And I was thinking about this because I'm like, well, why don't I like this? What is it about this guy? He's not fighting anybody. And you guys are already crowning him like one of the pound for pound guys. I mean, everybody's saying this is the guy in the division. This is the guy in the division. Fight somebody. Don't fight a retread.
Do you guys think Jamar Charlo beats Lemieux, man?
Man, I think that's a good fight. I don't know. That's a good fight. Very good fight.
Wow. Fight.
That's a great fight.
I think he could. He does, man. His legs are too fucking stiff. He ain't got no movement. He's got a good, strong jab, but so does Lemieux, and I think Lemieux comes over with that right hand, man, and it's lights out. I actually favor Lemieux over Charlo. I really don't like
Lemieux has proven that he's got one-punch knockout power. Look at what the hell he did to Curtis Stevens.
Yeah, wow.
That's the fight I want for the Charlos, man. That's the fight I want for Charlo. I want to see him versus Lemieux, and if he could get Lemieux the fuck out of there, then that's impressive. And I think him and Triple G.
Well, it's interesting.
Lemieux, I want to see what he's got in there versus a real puncher. You know.
It's interesting though because I heard that he's going to be.
All right, guys, that's my call. Appreciate you guys. I got Earl Spence going all the way up and taking all the belts at 154 and fucking possibly being the 160 champ, man. That's me. That's Earl Spence.
I see that.
I called it a long time ago.
To dominate 140. He's big enough to dominate 147, 154, and 160.
Yeah, he's gonna come for the Triple G fucking records in a couple of years. So
that's right.
The new king right there.
All
right, guys. I'll let you guys have a good one.
All right.
Bow your guys' boxing knowledge.
That's right.
My apologies for calling the show and calling you guys. I'm the idiot here. My apologies.
That's right.
All right. See ya.
Eric, tell me if you heard this. But is this right? I'm not sure if this is 100% correct. Would Charlo, when he moved up to 160, would he be Golovkin's mandatory, the WBC? I think someone was saying that WBC was going to make him the mandatory challenger for Golovkin's, or is that just a rumor?
I believe he'll be in the mandatory at WBC. You are correct, Beeb.
That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but he won't be. He's not going to. Here, let's see here. No. What? All right, Jermell Charlo. Okay. No, Jermell Charlo is the WBC champion.
No, I'm talking about 160.
Right, Jermell Charlo. Right, Jermell Charlo is the WBC champion. He's not moving up.
No, I'm talking about Jamal. That's what I meant. Did I say Jamal?
No, you said Jamal. But what I'm saying is Jermell Charlo is the IBF champion. So if he moves up, there's no way they're going to sanction him as the number one contender right there. I'm hearing that Charlo will have to fight Jorge Sebastian Highland for that number one contender.
Okay. That's I heard someone saying that they were positioning him.
He'll have to fight first. Yeah, he'll have to fight first.
Okay.
Before he actually does that.
Because we've seen stranger things happen where a guy would move up and automatically be like ranked number one by the WBC and not even have a fight in the division. We've seen that happen before.
Right. I mean, if it was Jermell Charlo, because he holds the WBC title, if he moved up, he would be the number one. But Jamal Charlo, it doesn't make sense that they would just sanction him.
I heard something. I just didn't know if it was true or not. Whether or not it was a rumor or not. So I threw it out there.
All right. Kovalev signs a rematch with Andre Ward. Sergey Kovalev has taken to Twitter to announce that he has signed the rematch agreement to face Andre Ward. Kovalev lost a very close and controversial decision in their first fight. Kovalev was able to put Andre Ward down in the second round, but Ward really came on strong toward the end of the fight to earn the decision. Kovalev said via Twitter, "A couple of days ago, I signed a new memo for a rematch, which was sent to me by Rock Nation. Still waiting on Son of Judges to sign it." Son of Judges, of course, refers to Andre Ward's nickname, Son of God. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So it sounds like it's going to take place, and I'm hearing June 17th. That's what I'm hearing. So.
Yep. That's the date I hear. Yep.
It's going down. All right. ESPN pound for pound rankings. With Chocolatito losing last week, ESPN came out with their new pound for pound rankings, and they have Triple G at the top. Here are the Triple G, number 1, Andre Ward, number 2, Vasyl Lomachenko, number 3, Sergey Kovalev, number 4, and Chocolatito moves down to number 5. I got to question these a little bit. And again, I mean, they're just pound for pound. It's all mythical. Nobody really cares one way or the other. You don't get a belt for it. You don't get paid for it. Triple G's fought at largely one weight class, 160. Andre Ward has fought, 168, collected all the belts, went to 175, collected all the belts. How is he not pound for pound the best guy out there? I don't get that.
Because Dan Rafael doesn't like him.
How about Vasyl Lomachenko with just a handful of fights, like 8 fights, being number 3 on that list?
No, Eric, Andre Ward has to be number 1.
Number
like
1,
him or
right?
not, he's got to be number 1.
He's got to be number 1.
If you really think about it, though, you listen to Dan Raphael and some of his statements. And again, I like Dan. I think Dan is a good reporter, but I just think sometimes he gets a little bit too emotionally involved. When he refuses to even cover an Andre Ward fight because he says that he's boring, that's very unprofessional.
Yeah, Andre Ward is not a boring fighter.
That's very unprofessional. When you sit there and you get personal with the fighters, then, as a journalist, you should never get in a Twitter war with a fighter and go back and forth. And we've seen Dan Raphael do that. And he's openly criticized Andre Ward. And I think he's kind of went below the belt on numerous occasions when talking about Andre Ward. And I think that has a lot of impact and effect on why Andre Ward is not rated number 1 pound for pound over the ESPN. And I could care less. It's not like these guys are going to – how could you defend your pound for pound title? What are you going to do? Fight against the flyweight guy that's number 3 on the list? I mean, it's just so unimportant to me, But again, a lot of fighters put a lot of stock in that, and it's an accomplishment in a lot of fighters' opinions. And Andre Ward has said before, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, that he's would be honored and proud to be number 1 pound for pound. That was one of his goals. So, at least he's pound for pound number 1 in the rings ratings. If that consolation.
Oh, look, I don't care. I don't care about pound for pound list, but
me neither, Robbie.
You have to put Andre Ward number 1. There's no debate. I'm a Triple G guy.
Yeah.
But you cannot put him over Andre Ward.
2-division undisputed champion in both divisions. How is that possible? How is it possible that he's not number 1?
Well, he's not undisputed yet. He's got to beat Adonis Stevenson, but they'll never be allowed to fight one another.
He's undisputed. You can't. The guy won't fight him. You can't. You know what I'm saying? The guy won't fight him. There's nothing he can do about that. Just like Triple G, if Billy Joe Saunders doesn't fight him, it doesn't mean Triple G is not undisputed. The guy won't fight him. There's nothing you can do about that.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
And I mean, I can see Triple G on the list. That's fine. But ahead of Andre Ward? Really? How do you I don't even know how you do that with a straight face though. I mean, how can you even say that?
I know Dan's a good reporter, but when he does stuff like this, you've got to really wonder how much does he follow the sport? How much does he care about the sport?
Yeah.
And
then Vasyl Lomachenko, that's another one with just a handful of fights. I mean, he's only got 8 or 9. How many fights do he have? 8 or 9?
He's 7-1.
7-1. So 8 pro fights, and he's got 1 loss. Yeah. And I'm not saying a loss makes or break you, but I mean, he's 7-1, and he's on the pound for pound list. Come on, man, really? Chocolatito, I can understand. He's moved up in weight. He's won another title. Okay, all right, I could see him on there. Sergey Kovalev, again, he's fought at 175. I don't know. It's that's the problem with pound for pound list. A lot of times they'll take a fighter that stayed in one division and say he's pound for pound. Where, a guy like Ward is doing multiple divisions, taking all the belts in multiple. It's just tough, man. It's tough to
right. Right.
So there you go. There's the ESPN pound for pound. All right. The Triple G versus Jacobs pay-per-view numbers are in. Lance Pugmire of the Los Angeles Times reports the Jacobs Golovkin fight. The numbers are ranged from 130 to 150,000 pay-per-view buys. That was trumped by Tom Loeffler, who reports that the pay-per-view buys were around 170,000. So there you go. And I tend to lean toward Tom Loeffler. I mean, he's the one that put the event on. He says 170,000. Listen, if he's got to negotiate with Golden Boy, he's going to put the right number in there. So 170,000, not bad numbers, but not exactly Canelo numbers either.
No,
but
and
Canelo
unfortunately, that's going to hurt Tom in the negotiations with Oscar, which we'll get to in a minute. I'm thoroughly disgusted as a boxing fan who is supposed to be a true boxing fan. It sounds like not enough people stepped up to the plate and paid for this fight, and they missed a very good fight, and shame on them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a good fight for sure. But let's move along here. Let's move along to our train wreck of the week, because we'll piggyback off of that. Beeb, it's time.
Chugga. Choo choo.
There you go.
Got it back, baby. Got it back.
There it is. Oscar De La Hoya is our train wreck of the week. De La Hoya is now not very confident that a Triple G versus Canelo fight can come off now because of Triple G's selling power. Quote, because when Triple G and Jacobs does between 100,000 and 200,000 homes, it's a big risk for me to put a lot of money up front, said De La Hoya. So if we want to make this fight happen, we'll have to work with each other. It all depends on the pay-per-view, and that's the risk we all have to take. People talk about Golovkin being a big superstar. Why is he only selling between 1 and 200,000 homes? Asked De La Hoya. He's no Canelo, that's for sure. You're right, because Canelo sold 300,000 in his last pay-per-view. That's not really that far off. I mean, honestly, if it's 200,000 and Canelo selling 300,000, it's not. Nobody's. I don't think anybody is anybody really disputing that Canelo is the A side here? I mean, is anybody really disputing? Nobody's disputing that. Is De La Hoya serious, or is he just trolling for a reason not to make this fight?
I think he's looking for a way out.
I think so too. And I think that was my big thing here. And I'm like, because I heard him say, well, if I've heard Gomez and De La Hoya talking about, if Triple G takes the fight in June, then that directly impacts. He said that he won't fight Canelo in September because Canelo has to, we have to have 6 months of promotion for it. No, you don't. You don't have to have 6 months promotion for that fight. How much promotion did the Floyd Manny fight have? Like 3 months?
3 months.
February. I mean, he announced it late February, March, April, May. 3 months.
Yeah, and it took off. It went off May 2nd. So March, April. There you go.
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah, exactly.
I just got in trouble, Eric. I didn't use the right soundbite. Go ahead, do the soundbite. Go ahead. All right, there we go. We have to make it official. I mean, you have to make it official.
I tell you, that was a ton better than your sound.
That was way better than mine.
Yeah. My God. I mean, that was eons better.
All right.
So, I mean, do you think this fight comes off in September? Or do you think they find a way out of it?
Look, I want it to go off, but there's major problems here. Triple G did absolutely horrible in both of his pay-per-views. And Canelo and Chavez, because of the Mexican population and how popular they both are, I swear to God, I think it's going to do close to 1 million May 6th. And if that happens, I don't know how Tom Loeffler and K2 even can get at the table, because everything is going to favor Canelo as far as the negotiation goes. I think if the fight happens, Triple G is going to have to take a lot less money, and he's got no negotiating power, but yet he's going to have all the belts, which, normally in boxing, the person that has all the belts would have all the power. But in this case, if it comes down to a financial thing, I'm very worried about this fight taking place now.
Beeb, what are your thoughts? Do you think this actually goes off?
I'm really skeptical about it, and I always have been skeptical about it. And I don't know. It's hard to kind of put your finger on who to blame here. Is Golden Boy giving Triple G such a horrendous offer that it's impossible for him to take it? But when you look at this, right? What did he get? 2.7 versus Jacobs, but didn't he get 5 million versus Brook because of that large UK pay-per-view market over there? Wasn't his guarantee 5 million?
That is correct. Yeah.
So that just goes to show you that you made more money fighting a welterweight than you did fighting the second best fighter supposedly in your division. So I think it was a huge mistake ever putting Triple G on pay-per-view. I think it was too soon. But not only that, the pay-per-view market is not what it once was, and I'm not so sure that it will ever be what it once was. Even Canelo, the star that he is, without Mayweather, he did 900,000 with Cotto, and that was back in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And you look at 2014 to now, there's just so many different ways to watch the fight. You have Facebook Live now. You have all these streaming outlets out there. So I just don't think that you're really going to get those numbers that you once had in the past. And it's not always about pay-per-view. I think Heyman really made a smart move by trying to put these fighters on premium network television, like on CBS, NBC, because you're able to reach more homes that way. You're able to expose the fighter to more people, and that's how you cross over. The more eyes you have on a fighter, that gives him the greatest opportunity to grow and become a household name. So when you try to isolate a fighter to a certain audience, then I think the only fighter right now that can really command decent numbers pay-per-view wise in the sport of boxing is Canelo Alvarez, and I don't think that all these other promoters are really looking to have that pay-per-view star. I don't think it's important anymore, but for some reason they're trying to turn Golovkin into that, and I think it's a mistake.
That's an HBO.
Go ahead, Robbie. Yeah, it's an HBO thing. Showtime. What was the last fight pay-per-view fight that Showtime's ever put on? Was it Floyd Mayweather?
Pacquiao.
Andre
Mayweather.
That was it.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of adapted and evolved with the times. Now they're starting to say to themselves, okay, it's not about the pay-per-view anymore. Now Showtime and CBS are starting to put some of these fights on. Now Errol Spence versus Cal Brook, is that going to be on Showtime?
Yeah.
It's going to be on regular
Showtime, yes.
Regular Showtime. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, those on CBS, and I'm sure more people watch their fight than watch Danny Jacobs versus Gennady Golovkin. So what do you do? Do you put do you give your fighter the best chance to have the largest audience, pay-per-view or not? Okay, so if you take your fighter off pay-per-view and you put him on CBS and you're able to showcase him in a lot more homes than you would if you put him on pay-per-view, isn't that a success? Aren't you giving him the greatest opportunity to make the most amount of money by doing that? So I think that HBO and Golden Boy and all these other promoters out there, they need to follow suit and do what Al Heyman's doing. And it's not about being pay-per-view. That's kind of like a badge of honor that Mayweather kind of infused in people's minds that, once you're on pay-per-view, you're a star. I don't think you hear Keith Thurman talk. He doesn't even talk about pay-per-view. He doesn't care about things like that. He just wants to fight the best, and he wants to be on he's just happy that the fight's being televised. So I think a lot of these other fighters need to kind of follow suit with that. I think that is the way to go now in today's boxing. You have to evolve with the times. And if people don't want to spend money on pay-per-views, especially what happened after that Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, so now you got to go in a different route. And I think Tom Lofton needs to go in a different route.
No, I agree, but
yeah, go ahead.
I agree, Joe, but I do think that the Canelo Chavez will bring in some significant numbers just because of when it's happening and the popularity of those two names.
I'm going to say it does 700,000. I don't think it's going to do 1 million. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I don't think it does that many. I really don't. I'm
going to say in between 600,000 and 700,000. I'm going to say $700,000.
Yeah, I think that's.
Right. You know what? I hope I'm wrong. But
and if you can't do 1 million on that fight,
I think
that pay-per-view market is gone.
I think if anybody does 1 million pay-per-view buys, it would be Canelo Alvarez.
I'll be honest with you. If you gave me a choice to be on pay-per-view or to fight on CBS in prime time, I'd pick CBS. I'd rather be on CBS. That way, people that normally wouldn't.
Yeah, I'd take CBS all day.
Imagine people flipping through the channels 8, 9 o'clock at night. Boom, someone's gonna catch me. You know what I'm saying?
You're much more of a household name. You'll be much more of a household name.
Exactly.
So there you go. All right, let's go. And I tell you what, my opinion is, man, I tell you what, if Golden Boy doesn't fight him in September, if this fight doesn't happen in September, they are just a bunch of cowards, man. I really believe that, man, because this has gone on way too long now. This has gone on for like 1.5 years now. We'll fight him. No, we won't. We'll fight him. Well, no, we'll fight him in May. We'll fight him in September. We'll fight him. Look, either you're going to fight the guy or you're not going to fight the guy. You know what I mean? And the fact that he has a fight in June, the fact that he fights in June shouldn't mean anything. Shouldn't
Well,
mean.
let me ask you this, though.
No.
Let me ask you this. If you're Billy Joe Saunders and you get an offer from Canelo and you get an offer from Triple G, who do you fight?
Canelo.
Canelo, right? So Canelo can.
Because you're going to get more money.
Yeah. So Canelo could put a monkey wrench in everything. He could sit there and say, you know what? Billy Joe Saunders may wait till after the Chavez fight, and he may just wait and see who wins. And that's why he's probably holding up, because maybe he may decide to go after Canelo instead of fight Triple G.
Right. Yeah.
Because he'll definitely – I think there's a great chance if Canelo comes out of that fight and wins it, in decent fashion, that he'll go after Billy Joe Saunders. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. 812, you are live.
Hey, Joe, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Robbie, Beeb, Eric? How you guys doing?
Hey Joe. How you doing, buddy?
Just want to go ahead and great shit, man. This college basketball has been crazy, man. But let me go ahead and touch on the fights. I really impressed with Linares. I really never followed him. I really never even knew he was until like last year when he fought Crolla. I don't know if he was just inactive for so long, but man, when I saw him with all those belts, I'm like, man, this guy's pretty impressive. But anyway, I was just impressed with his boxing skills in the ring. I mean, he just looked like he was in total control of that fight, and that's going to be him and Mikey doing the fighting. I mean, that's going to be a big fight. Real good fight. It'll be a good test for Mikey, man, because he's been off for so long, but to just finally be in there with a tough opponent, I still would give the advantage to Linares. I mean, it just looks like he'll find ways to get the job done.
He looked great to me.
Going on to third, yeah, he looked really good. It felt good to have Teddy Atlas back too, man. On Thursday's show, I've always been a big fan of Teddy, and just hearing him commentate on the mic, I'm just doing a call. Now, I think those Golden Boy cards are going to be a success. I mean, it looked like a nice showing there, and hopefully, I think we got one coming up this Saturday as well.
April 1st. Yep.
April 1st, yeah. So, I mean, I really like that. As far as Tapia, man, you see stuff like that, and it's like you respect him for being in there and giving all he's got, but, man, you think how that's going to affect him 5-10 years from now. I mean, he basically was just like walking through punches. And then, I mean, it's just, I really hope, I don't know how he got cleared for the fight anyway, but I really hope he reconsiders it and does something different. As far as Quigley, man, he's just going to be, I look at him just like an NBA prospect. He's just going to be a project. You just got to keep working with him and fine-tuning his skills, but it wasn't nothing impressive. And then, guys, Robbie, did you end up getting a chance to watch Nico last night, Hernandez?
Yeah, I watched the Candace card. I mean, they were developmental fights. They were good. They were all 8-rounders, and I guess the right people won. I have no problem with cards like that.
Yeah, I like that. But one guy, did you guys get to catch it, Beeb or Eric?
I did not.
The CBS Sportsnet card?
No, I missed it, actually.
They had a funny guy on there. Robbie, what about that guy? It's Nico Hernandez? Somebody.
It's me. It's Miko Hernandez. Yeah, hometown guy.
The rooster. The guy who was doing marking like a rooster the first fight. He was the opening bout.
Yeah.
And he seems like he's got a good attitude for fights. And I really like this style, but it's just like he's got a lot of, these guys are just with some potential, but. Overall, though, I can see why boxing is going to slow down these next few weeks. I mean, it'd be stupid to compete against the NCAA tournament. And I believe that's the reason why they bombed last week on the pay-per-view buy. You can't compete against the NCAA. I mean, I think the pay-per-view buys would have possibly been a little bit higher because it was a huge fight. But I mean, the NCAA it's just too much right now. It's a monster. Beeb, I heard your bet with old Georgie Porgy, man. That's a good one. But God, I'm riding with Georgie, man. I don't see Spence losing this fight, man. I think it's too. I said this before. I think it's just too soon for Spence. I really think.
Joe, remember Georgie's picking Brooke. Beeb is picking Spence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm going with Brooke myself. Yeah, I'm going with Brooke by split decision.
Split decision.
I think I know you guys are something. Beeb, did you say a knockout?
Yeah, he's gonna knock him out, Joe. He's gonna knock him out.
Georgie can win the bet. Georgie can win the bet. Even if Errol Spence wins, he can win the bet. So yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I've made some bad bets in my life, man. But I just
whoa, Joe, whoa!
Wow. I made some real bad bets, man. But I just hey, I bet it against Golovkin. I mean, I picked Spence, and he got beat by the. But to Spence's credit, man, he was doing good. So he got his eye socket broke, you know. But
broke, you mean, bro?
I just think Spence is gonna Brooks. I keep saying Spence. Brooks. I think Brooks is gonna just outbox him, and he's gonna get a nice split decision in his hometown. But that's kind of really it. That's all I really got for you guys. I mean, like I said, I just the negative feedback. It seemed like it took away a little bit of the feel good for the Golovkin Jacobs. It seemed like everybody's a judge now. You know, everybody's like, oh, you know, how'd you score that fight? I feel like some people just relax and enjoy the damn fights. You know, everybody wants to be a judge. And I was talking to my buddy the other day. Sometimes I feel like Twitter is kind of putting a black eye on boxing sometimes, because everybody's just never satisfied with anything anymore. You know, there's always something to complain about. So I'm just ready to sit back and enjoy this fight.
Well, that's how the internet is, brother.
Why can't someone
on Twitter, man? It's worse.
I know I couldn't handle that, man.
Why can't someone just say,
you know?
Why can't someone just say, hey, I disagree with your scorecard, I had it this way, and call it a day? Why does everyone have to say, oh, how did you have it like that? Oh, I can't believe you scored. Enough with the scorecard shaming, because, you know, when you watch these fights and then you look at the scorecards of the judges at the end of the fight, everyone's all over the place. Like so many judges have different rounds, and it's like you just can't be myopic and say that it happened the way I saw it, and not be open-minded enough to say, hey, maybe this guy could see it a different way. And that's what aggravates me, because I don't scorecard shame anybody. If you have it a certain way, you have it a certain way, because several times I've been in the minority. I've had it one way, and everyone else has had it a different way. And it is what it is. That's how boxing is. Not everyone can see the same thing. That's the beauty of the sport. It's so subjective.
And people judge it on different things. I mean, if the guy's coming forward, if he if he's throwing more punches, if he's landing the harder shots, I mean, people judge things different ways.
Yeah,
I agree. Hey, Eric, I wanted to get your opinion on something, Eric. What do you think? And Beeb, you guys too, Bobby. What do you think about Oscar coming out? I think it was yesterday or Friday, coming out saying, due to the pay-per-view numbers or the low numbers Golovkin did, he's going to reconsider the deal that he offered Golovkin in the first place and change.
That's what we were just talking about, Joe. It's ridiculous. I think Oscar's trying to get Canelo out of that fight.
He's definitely trying to get.
I think they're going to use I think they're going to use any damn excuse to not fight this man, and I think it's disgusting.
Yeah, and I wish more fans would support Golovkin, because he's everything you would want to be in a fighter. For me, like, he's entertaining. You get your money's worth. You're either going to get a knockout or a damn good fight. You know, he carries himself a good way, and he doesn't duck anybody. Like, he calls people out. People want whoever the fans want him to fight, he fights. So I wish we would back him a little bit more. But it seems like recently, man, he's been getting a lot of shade thrown at him. I don't know why, but just the way it is, man. But guys, real quick before I go, Eric, if you don't mind, I just wanted to send my condolences, man. I'm a big fan of good old Jim Ross, man. His wife sadly passed away.
I heard about this.
Last week.
Oh, wow.
That was awful.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on the call last night. On CBS. He loves doing that boxing on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And man, that's just, I listen to his show every Tuesday, man, and we love his wife, and it's just sad, man, to hear stuff like that. But it's cool to see the wrestling community just rallying behind him and really being there for him. But I just want to send my, because I really look up to JR. I've always been a big fan of his, and it's sad, man, to see stuff like that.
He's a solid guy.
Yeah, it was such an awful thing when I read that.
Guys,
it was awful, man.
Yeah, horrible, man.
Yeah.
So, but you guys, hey, everybody take care, and I'll talk with you guys soon, man. You guys have a good week.
All right, Joe.
All right, man.
Okay, Robbie.
Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Thanks, Joe.
Awesome.
And for the record, I did buy both Gennady Golovkin's pay-per-views. I did pay for them.
So did I.
So I'm supporting. I actually am supporting the guy.
Well,
but a lot of people aren't though. A lot of people aren't.
Yeah, you know what though, Golovkin, what was it? Triple G and who was it? David Lemieux.
Yeah, David Lemieux.
Was not a pay-per-view fight. Triple G and Danny Jacobs was not a pay-per-view fight.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it could just be people railing against that. Because those aren't pay-per-view fights. I mean, if we want to be honest about it, I don't think Chavez
I agree with Derek.
And Canelo is really a pay-per-view fight. Not the way Chavez looked in his last fight. But Canelo's only fighting on pay-per-view. So a lot of this could be just people railing against pay-per-view. Instead of not just railing against Golovkin or anything. It could just be people railing against pay-per-view. And pay-per-view, I tell you what, is not going to be the same since the whole Floyd Pacquiao situation. So, yeah, man, I don't know. So
Floyd Pacquiao run boxing pay-per-view forever.
Yeah. And just a quick shout out to the guys in the chat. Wood is out there from Pay Me No Mind. Make sure to go ahead and listen to his podcast. He's got a great podcast. He does a lot of basketball stuff. He does a lot of boxing stuff as well. So he's on the Pay Me No Mind podcast. So make sure to check him out. Let's move on to our next one. Let's talk about the pay-per-view king. Floyd Mayweather is starting to gear up for his upcoming bout with Conor McGregor. That fight will happen. It has not been announced. That fight is happening, though, so brace up. He seems to be taking the fight seriously as he's bringing in UFC MMA star Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee is 15-2 in MMA. Lee also said that he doesn't think that Floyd will be able to knock out Conor McGregor. Quote, Floyd isn't going to knock out Conor McGregor, he said. Conor's a much bigger man. I expect Conor to come out and try to sling Floyd around a little bit in the clinch, try to wear him down. If things get a little too hectic in that 7th, 8th round, he might start, I don't know, he might start to rough him up with some elbows. I'm pretty sure Floyd is going to have us prepare him for that, being able to throw him around and maybe even kick him a little bit. You never know. This fight, Beeb and I talked about this, man. This fight's definitely going down.
Looks good.
Look, man.
And Eric Showtime has said that will be their next pay-per-view if it comes off.
Yeah, that fight's coming off, son. Yeah, it boggles the mind that this fight and how, let's talk about this for a second, Beeb. Do you think we're talking about pay-per-view numbers? We're talking about Canelo Chavez. We're talking about Triple G, Jacobs. Does this fight do 1 million? Does this fight do 2-3 million?
This fight does at least 2 million buys, and it's because of the UFC fans. I said this earlier. I made a point that where boxing fans really don't like to pay for pay-per-view fights, UFC fans have always paid for the big fights on pay-per-view because Dana pretty much has put all of his big shows, his big fights, his big matchups on pay-per-view, and he stacks the card from top to bottom. So you very rarely ever hear UFC fans say, hey, you know what? That was a bad pay-per-view. I'm sorry I bought that pay-per-view. So these demographic of fans are used to paying pay-per-view money for fights. They have no problem doing that. Whereas boxing, we've had a lot of fights on regular network television lately. We've had always had premium network, HBO Showtime fights, ESPN, USA Network. So, we've been, exposed to a different type of format. Whereas, the real big fights are on pay-per-view and the not so big fights are on the networks. Whereas even though they have that deal with Fox Sports, they still put most of their fights on pay-per-view. They have a pay-per-view almost every month. So it's different. And I think being able to bring that pay-per-view audience over to this event, along with, Floyd, who definitely has a big following, he did 450. What did he do? Like 450 or 500,000 with Berto. And
I think he did like 300. I thought he did like 3 or 350.
Was it 350? Okay, and that was with Berto, and that's after the backlash from the Pacquiao fight.
Yeah.
So you think you think that Mayweather would at least bring 500,000, and then you think McGregor may bring 1 million or whatever, or even Floyd could bring 1 million, and McGregor brings 1 million based upon the the magnitude of the event itself. So this could do at least 2 million. And Floyd's even suggesting that this may be bigger than the Pacquiao fight pay-per-view wise. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
I
don't think it'll top those numbers, but I think this will definitely be in the 2 million mark, 2 million range mark for pay-per-view buys. I think that's going to happen.
And while I don't think Conor stands a chance boxing Mayweather, I will tell you that Conor's a big guy. He's a really big guy. I mean, you could see the if you go to the Michael Conlon fight, his first pro fight, you could see Conor talking to Sergey Kovalev, and they're standing next to each other. Kovalev is not much bigger than Conor. Conor is a big guy. So, I'm not saying he can't be knocked out, but I tell you what, Conor is a big man, that's for sure. He's not small. He's not Mayweather size, put it that way. And I don't know what weight the fight comes off at or anything like that. I don't know. I would imagine 154. That makes more sense. But we'll see. Josecito Lopez will take on Saul Navajo on April 9th. And that'll be on PBC on FS1 on April 9th. Edner Cherry and Omar Douglas set for April 4th. That should be a pretty good fight. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The WBA orders Rigondeaux versus Moises Chucky Flores to purse bid.
Wow.
The WBA Championships Committee summoned the fight between WBA Super Bantamweight champion Guillermo Rigondeaux and Mexican Moises Flores, interim champion, to be held at the WBA office on April 3rd. So they're going to go to purse bid. Here's my question on this. Where's Guillermo Rigondeaux in the pound-for-pound list? Why isn't he there?
He's in the box. He's in the box rec one.
I mean,
he's number 13.
Right?
He's number 13 in box rec.
Yeah, he's 17-0. He's got 11 knockouts. Where's he at? Why isn't he? Why isn't he on there? Why isn't he on ESPN?
He hasn't been in a big fight in a long time, though.
Yeah, it's very true. But I mean, he's as technical as they come. And if you're going to have, that's the fight to be made. I think Rigo and
Lomachenko.
Yeah, that's the fight to be made, man. To me, that's the fight to be made. Because both of those guys, I mean, Rigo is such a skillful boxer. You can't lay a hand on that guy.
Yeah.
And Lomachenko's a very good fighter, man. Very good fighter.
Yeah.
So, Joseph Parker versus Hughie Fury is now official. World Heavy WBO champion Joseph Parker will defend his title for the first time against mandatory challenger Hughie Fury, who is 20-0. And I'm hearing Hughie Fury's father can't get into New Zealand. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to figure that out or what. But who do you like in that fight, Beeb?
I think Fury has a chance, but wow. You know what? I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to pick Fury with the upset. Hughie's a real good boxer, and I think Parker, I just don't like how he's so stiff and straight up and not really a great defender, and he seems to always break, the break in concentration where he just seems to kind of be complacent in there. And I think Fury's really improved. You see him getting better. He's really working behind the jab. He's really setting up the shots well. He can punch a little bit. Always looks like he's in shape. Whereas Parker sometimes looks like he's gassing. Takes a lot of time off in between the rounds. Fights in spurts, and sometimes he doesn't really move out of. He'll stop punching, and he won't get out of range. And he just stands there and waits for the return fire. And you see that happen a lot where he'll throw some big shots, and then he'll just stand there after he throws the big shots, and he ends up getting tagged. So I can see Hughie Fury definitely outboxing him. I can see it happening.
Yeah, I do too. Jeff Cotto was in the chat. He just said that they did give him the visa. I guess they gave his father the visa. And Cotto, your boy is getting messed up, man. Parker's getting killed in that fight. He's going to kill that guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say he's going to kill him, but I think he'll outbox him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Parker just gets hit too much, and I don't know. He's just easy to counter. A little bit stiff, a little bit robotic.
Robert, would you consider Joseph Parker the heavyweight champion of the world?
No. Andy Ruiz almost beat him, for Christ's sake. But my question about Yuri Fury, since I've never seen him, is he going to be like Tyson, be one and done?
No,
he had drug problems.
You know,
he had a bunch of problems.
No, it's a different type of mentality.
I understand that, Eric, but you know,
you're piling on.
I understand that, but you know, I wonder if it runs in the family. Sort of, you know.
Oh. Horrible.
Wow.
Horrible.
Runs
no,
in the
I do not consider Joseph Parker a legitimate champion, and if Yuri Fury can fight, he beats him.
Yeah, I think Huey Fury is going to outbox him. Parker, you know, Parker hasn't really been impressive. I got news for you, man.
No, he really hasn't.
Gift against Andy Ruiz, and I'm not a big Ruiz fan. I was shocked that it went. I had Parker winning that fight.
He almost won that fight.
Yeah, I had Parker big in that fight. I thought Parker was going to kill him. You know, I thought this was an easy fight for Parker. Man, he got schooled.
Who was that African guy that Parker fought that a lot of people thought he lost that fight to?
Oh yeah, who was that guy?
Carlos Takam. Carlos.
Yes.
Takam.
Yeah, that guy's a good fighter. That guy.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Robbie. A lot of people thought Takam beat Parker.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah, I think Huey gets him, man, and I think he gets him, and we'll have to wait for Tyson Fury to come back and lose about 75 pounds, man, because he looked big in that. Did you saw the picture we posted?
Oh my God!
Yeah,
400 pounds at least. No,
you think so? What is he 6? You said he's 6'9". He's
probably 350. He looked like 350.
Yeah, he looked about 350. Yeah, he looked every bit of 350 in that picture, man.
Yeah, he looked big.
He's got what about a good 50? Yeah, I guess 50 to 75 to lose, man. But he's in the gym every day. I think it's a lot, you know, when your body's trained for that stuff, and these guys know how to cut weight and get weight off of there and stuff. Once he starts training, that stuff will just fall off, man. It'll be all right.
I hope so.
All right, and our final story here, very sad story. 17-year-old amateur boxer died shortly after collapsing in the ring during a tournament fight. A teenager known as Ed Bilby was given medical treatment on the match on Friday night in South Normanton, Derbyshire, but was pronounced dead at the hospital. So really sad, man. This is, and you know, and just reading about the story and everything like that, I didn't get the sense that he got touched up in the fight or anything like that. It just, you know, it was just one of those things, man. I don't know. You know, sometimes like it's kind of like they said, you remember the Pritchard Cologne thing?
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that said, you know, because we were speculating it was rabbit punches and stuff like that, but we don't know. There was some talk that this may have been like he may have had a condition prior to that, like blood clots in the brain or something. You're like susceptible to that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And
predisposed condition.
Yeah, you just don't know. It's a This is the thing, man. It's a dangerous sport, man. So yeah, prayers go out to him and his family, and just the awful. It's 17 years old. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
17 years old, man. That's just crazy. Just crazy. All right, Beeb, any parting thoughts here?
Well, you know, I'm looking forward to some of these big fights. I'm looking forward to Anthony Joshua. I'm looking forward to Errol Spence. So we got a slow couple weeks ahead, but again, I think it's the calm before the storm, so to speak. And I think that you know, it'll start picking up again, and hopefully we'll finish this year strong too. So I'm looking forward to a good year of boxing ahead of us, even though that we're in a little bit of a downswing these next couple weeks.
Yeah, for sure, man. How about you, Robert?
Well, look forward to Vasily Lomachenko. I think he'll put on a good show. You know, that's April 8th. And of course, you know, Showtime, somebody get it together. Let us know you're going to televise the biggest fight of the century, 90,000 plus. Joshua Klitschko. I mean, we have to see that on our TV. Let's go.
You said the biggest fight of the century. I thought you were referring to Mayweather-McGregor. I didn't.
Oh, no. 90,000 plus, Wembley Stadium, baby. You know.
I guess my parting thought is I cannot believe this fight is actually going to happen to Mayweather-McGregor. It hasn't been announced yet, but the fact that he's bringing in sparring partners, the fact that he's bringing in everything, and both sides seem to be getting ready, I cannot believe it. Dana White has stepped out of the way. I'm at a loss, man. I'm just baffled.
Robbie, you gonna buy it?
Yeah, you gonna buy it?
Oh, he's got to think
might
about
if
it.
it's all boxing.
He's got to think about it.
He's got to think about it. Yeah, look at that. What about you, Beeb? You buying it?
Boxing.
Yeah, I'll buy it. I'm a
I think
loser.
I'll buy it too.
I'm a loser. Of course, I'm going to buy it. I'm a loser.
Yeah.
No, I said I'll buy it if I said I'll buy it if it's all boxing. I that's what I do, boxing.
The worst part is I'm going to buy it and just hate myself in the morning. You know, I'm going to get up and I'm going to look in the mirror like, God, you're such a loser, dude. You actually bought that. It depends. I mean, you think it's $100 pay-per-view?
Probably.
Yeah, I think
maybe 70, 85, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's $100.
85. Who knows?
Hey, you know what? I mean, Bob Arum is so desperate to get his fighters on TV. He's putting on a pay-per-view on April 22nd, the same night that Sean Porter's fighting Andre Berto. I mean, how dumb is that?
That is such a garbage pay-per-view, too. That is such a garbage pay-per-view, and no real disrespect to the fighters on the card, but that's a garbage pay-per-view. Why doesn't he put them on regular TV
that's
or something?
That's an HBO fight all the way.
I don't think you can get a network to buy. See, the thing with Bob is Bob will put fighters on pay-per-view as a last resort. So if a network,
this is not a last resort pay-per-view fight, though.
You don't think so?
No,
it wasn't.
No.
So
HBO picked him up. You're right. HBO didn't pick him up because it's a lousy card.
Yeah.
It's a lousy card. I mean, the fights may even be somewhat competitive, but they're a lousy card.
And he reserved a place like the StubHub Center who puts on good fights. Nobody will probably show up to the damn thing.
Yeah.
Even ESPN said, no, we're not carrying it.
Wow. Bob had to put it on pay-per-view, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, listen, man, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 773-572-7781. And I've been told that you have to hit the pound sign to leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at www.beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.
Good night, everyone.